or if we're letting go of a loved one, we're letting go of something in our identity that's like, I'm not lovable or I can't be loved.
And, I've noticed that when I'm avoiding something or making excuses about something, that's another great sign for me that I need to let go.
That fear of the unknown of like, what's going to happen after you let that go? What am I going to be like? What is my future going to look like? Will they still want to be my friend? Will they still want to be my partner?
I always attach a part of myself to this thing. And I think a lot of other people do too. And so I think that's why it's so hard.
Welcome back to Going Goddess, everyone. I'm Cherry here with my radiant co-host.
I'm Silver Luna. Today we have a truly transformative episode on the horizon. Not only are we diving into the empowering art of letting go, but we also have an incredible guest that's joining us. Hi, Devin.
Yes. Yay. We're so thrilled to introduce Devin Turner. Devin is a coach, entrepreneur, and healer. He is a proud gay man who is a true example of someone living their purpose by bringing truth, clarity, and meaning to his community every day. And I just freaking love him. I love him so much. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here, and I'm very honored to be your first guest on your podcast.
Yes, Devin, welcome.
What an honor.
We are so excited to have you here. We can't wait for you to be our first guest. We were talking right before the episode, and Devin is perfect. I'm so excited.
Yes, we had a call a few weeks ago all about letting go, which is what we're going to talk about today. And Devin had some truly incredible insights. And so I was like, you're perfect. We need to bring you on the podcast. We need the baddies and goddesses and men and women on their self-development journey to hear what you have to say. So it's perfect.
Yep.
I'm honored. I'm excited.
Yay. Good. I would really hate it if you were like, I hate this. But we're glad you're excited.
Letting go is not fun, but it happens and we have to talk about it. So I'm happy to have the conversation. And if we can make it easier for people, let's do that.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole point of the podcast. You get it, babe. I guess diving right in, let's start with why letting go can feel so impossible. Devin, from your perspective, why do people struggle to release what no longer serves them?
I mean, this is such an experience that so many of us go through every day. Letting go of a thing, a person, it's tough. It feels like we're losing a part of ourselves. It feels like we're losing a part of our identity, because when we let go of something, we think of this thing as us. If we're letting go of a friend, we're like, oh, I'm not a good friend. Or if we're letting go of a loved one, we're letting go of something in our identity that's like, I'm not lovable or I can't be loved. And so there's a true deep part of us that we feel like we're letting go as well. And on top of all the other stuff that we're going through, it's just hard. It's just really hard. So there's a ton of reasons why, but I think from what I see and what I've experienced is I always attach a part of myself to this thing. And I think a lot of other people do too. And so I think that's why it's so hard. Yeah.
I know.
Because it's not just like, I'm not like just ripping off a piece of paper and being like, okay, bye, like, see you never. Like, there's so much, I have so much experience, or I have so much history, or I have so much love that I've given to myself or given to other people. And if I'm letting go of this person, I'm letting go of a lot of that stuff that I've given as well. And so it can be super challenging. Man, so I'm happy that we're talking about this.
Yeah. And, a part of letting go and letting go of a part of yourself is just like that fear of the unknown of like, what's going to happen after you let that go? What am I going to be like? What is
Mm.
my future going to look like? Will they still want to be my friend? Will they still want to be my partner? Like, there's just so
Mm.
much of a domino effect that comes with acknowledging and letting things go and letting it move to the history books.
Totally. Super
I love
insightful.
that point because we're always thinking of like a future self or the future of our relationships with people. And it's like if we're letting go of something we don't like, we really don't know what the future has in store. And that is terrifying. And so it's like, I'm in the dark here. I don't know what's going to happen, who I am anymore, or where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. That's so
Yeah. What
true.
do you think, Jerry?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking through how hard it's been in my life and how I've like resisted letting go of things in the past, exactly like you said, Devin, that like it's a part of myself. And then I'm also thinking about how when I've known that I wanted to let something go, it's not like you can just switch your feelings off and you can just like just oh okay and I'm done with that and there's no I guess like energy exchange or repercussions or consequences or that's saying like that's putting I guess kind of a negative spin on it. But I mean, there your life will change when you let go of things. And change is scary, until you really flex that change muscle and get used to it. So yeah, that totally resonates with me.
Okay, so Devin, question for you. How do you think that people can overcome that fear of, that fear about the future, the fear of letting go and acknowledging that there's going to be some change ahead?
That is a great question. So I love talking about fear because fear is something that again, it is a collective experience, it's a collective emotion. And when we can address fear, we can address so much that's holding us back.
Mm.
And so if we fear this letting go, Cherry, you said this earlier, that we resist letting go of something, and you can feel that in your body and when you're resisting letting go of something that you need to let go of. You can feel it. It feels constrictive. It feels like tension in your body. And it doesn't feel good. And my experience with letting go has so much to do with feeling into my body and connecting with that feeling and connecting with the part of me that holds that feeling of fear. Is it my heart? Is it somewhere in my chest? Is it in my gut? Where is it in my body that I'm really feeling this thing holding on? And I can get in tune with that and really work with that and give that comfort and give that compassion and give love to myself so that I can really work through what I need to work through to let go. So there's
Yes.
a lot there,
Mm.
but does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
That really does. Because like in the past, maybe there was a situation that I didn't realize that I was like feeling resistance to. I just knew that I had a lot of anxiety and I felt like generally, yeah, tense. I can feel my shoulders, rising. I feel some like heaviness in my chest. I mean, my stomach's upset. And it's like, okay, am I sick? Like, did I eat something bad?
Mm.
Or like, but every time I think about this situation, those feelings keep coming back up for me. So then that's telling me, okay, there's something going on here. And then, yeah, to like sit with that. And is this something that I need to let go of? Is this something that I need to act on? Um, Learning about like really your body knows what's going on. That has been such a game changer for me. And I'm really glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, yeah, that is so true. One of the things that I believe in is the universe, and if the universe is making life difficult, the path is hard, nothing is aligning, I keep running into complications, obstacles, that's when I know that something's not right. And it's time to actually take a step back and say, is this actually benefiting my life? Is it worth it anymore, or is it time to let it go?
Yeah,
So
And
I'm a
that's so intentional. That's such an intentional process and really hard too, which I think is a reason why a lot of people resist making that change to let something go. It's hard. We don't want to do it. We want to stay safe and we want to stay in an easy path, um, but I think letting go actually just opens the door for easier
So
and
I want
more
to say
fluidity in
something.
your life and the universe to actually open up and give you more.
But I love that you were talking about how, yeah, the universe can put obstacles in our way or things just aren't working out. I'm a huge believer in like going with the flow of life. I call it downstream living. Because I figure that we're all headed the same way anyway. So why fight the current when you can just surf the waves and go with life? And the path of least resistance can be the best thing. Although we are talking about how we can feel resistance to letting things go. So I guess sometimes there's some bumps along the road there. But when everything's going wrong, that is a great opportunity to look around and take stock of where you're at. And just like you were saying, Devin, with the feeling it in your body, like when you're feeling some gnarliness going on around a certain situation, another great time to take a step back and reflect on why. And I think that kind of leads us well into our next segment, Luna.
Yeah, actually, that's a great segue into our next segment. So now that we've covered why it's so tough to accept letting go, let's talk about recognizing when it's time to let go. So aside from, physical ailments, we definitely know that we have some physical signs. What are some others that it's time to know that it's time to let go? Devin.
I mean, those are the huge ones. Like the physical, like if we can feel this in our body, that is the sign. I mean, I think also, Cherry, to your point, we just like can sense that things aren't like the universe is being like over here, like, hello, focus on this thing, do this thing. Like, why aren't you focusing on this? And we're just like, I don't know, I'm over here like trying to make this thing happen. So it's really like it's very intentional. I also think your intuition is always spot on
Mm,
and your gut feeling, follow that. Some other signs that I think can look like are your friends telling you that this person isn't good for you? Like,
mm,
are people in your life being like, I see you doing some destructive behaviors or doing something that is maybe not serving your higher good? Like, what are your friends and your loved ones and people that you trust telling you? Um, that can also be a good sign. But
yeah,
also take that with a grain of salt because you know
yeah,
you best.
true. Very true. I love that. Um,
Did
and
that
I've
answer your
noticed,
question?
That was a great answer, yes.
yes, I think so. I think totally. Especially as we're thinking about, last episode we talked about when friends go rogue, and it's kind of like when there's a consistent pattern of some negative behavior or some boundary being crossed by someone, and maybe you've spoken up about it and then they cross that boundary again. That's a great sign. That's like, we don't need to give 13 chances. Like, speak your truth, staying firm in it. And then when people, aren't willing to meet you there, then that's a sign to begin the process of letting go. um, and, I've noticed that when I'm avoiding something or making excuses about something, that's another great sign for me that I need to let go. So, when it comes to signs, we've talked about a few, from the universe to your body to other people. What do you think is a sign, Devin, that you've seen people ignore the most?
Ignore the most. I mean, I wouldn't even say it's ignore. I think it's just like people aren't aware of the signs and what to look out for because we're so conditioned to focus on what other people are telling us and we're so distracted all of the time from every direction that we don't actually just pause to be like, what is this thing serving for me? Is it worth my time and energy anymore?
So true.
Do I need this thing or this person in my life? And it is really just like the simple intention and awareness of the thing that I think people might not know to pay attention to. So maybe that's what they're ignoring.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Silver, what do
Man,
you
that is a
think?
great point. Just not knowing what to be mindful of. I agree that, we're in such a productive society that people just go, go, go and they forget to take a second to stop and analyze, especially the closest relationships, because you're so close to the source that it's way more radical to think of changing yourself that deep at the core and then moving forward. So that's a great point. Just not knowing the signs to look for.
Mm.
Yeah,
I love
definitely.
that you said radical because like I just love using the word radical when I'm talking about like healing or self-development or expression. Like it's just showing that I am so full on board with finding out who I am. I'm so radical with finding out my truth that nothing else matters. Like of course things matter, but like
Mhm.
on top of everything, like I'm here on this earth and on this planet to live my
Yes.
life. And so, can I be radical about everything that I am doing? And of course, in order to do that, I have to let
Mm-hmm.
go of some things.
That's so true.
Yeah,
And if you're not
totally.
feeling
Ooh,
radically excited
I
about it,
love
it's
that.
probably a pretty good sign that it's not meant for you.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I've been on this alcohol free journey for a few months now. And
Congrats.
yes, thank you. I'm very excited about it. Thank you. Um, and really what was like leading up to that was doing some work with my life coach and learning about how our shadows are a lot of times like our greatest opportunity for growth, and working through those shadows and kind of coming out the other side is really where a lot of our power lies, and how we can really help others in a major way. And so I was like, cool, learned that, like, I don't know, where do I have the most resistance in my life? And so then asking myself that question, and the very first thing that came up was like, well, you can't go a day without a glass of wine. And I was ooh, damn. Okay, is that something I need to let go of? Yes, that is something that I need to let go of. And, and so then began that process. So I think another great way to, I guess, if you don't even know necessarily what you need to let go of, is just kind of asking yourself, like, where am I experiencing the most resistance in my life? And then, am I experiencing resistance because I need to take a leap of faith? Or is it something that I need to let go of? It's kind of, you have to go in a little bit further. But cool. So I think that's pretty great that we talked through, some signs that it's time to let go. So let's get practical with this. Devin, what are some of your favorite tools or rituals for letting go?
I mean, there are so many out there. You can, if you're on the mindfulness track like am, you can journal and meditate. And there are burning rituals where you literally like get a piece of paper and write down the thing you're letting go of, and either tear it up or burn the piece of paper. And there are just like fun ritualistic things you can do with that. I mean, for me personally, I go inside and I focus on what I need, because ultimately it is a loss in life, and and with loss comes grief, and
Hmm.
so I really have to sit with that grief and do some work with that. That could be inner child work and really sitting with a younger version of myself who is in grief and comforting him and showing him love and tenderness and showing him that it is okay to grieve. That grieving and emotions are a part of life and that we need to experience that.
Mm.
And then on the other side of that grief is happiness. And so also sitting with my younger self and like celebrating joy and celebrating life. And so there's a lot of really beautiful things you can do with inner child healing, that can help with the letting go process. Um, a super simple way that I've gotten started with healing is journaling. And Simply just like, I don't, there's the stream of consciousness journaling that you can just like write 3 pages of whatever. But if you wanted to write like a love story to the thing you're letting go of, and giving it thanks almost for being a part of your life, and also giving yourself permission to have a life without this thing,
Yeah.
and including that in your love letter, I think is a beautiful way to almost like memorialize this thing or this person, and give it the space and give yourself the time to process the letting go.
Mm.
um, and then meditate and be with yourself and give yourself time. So I think that's where
Oh
I'd
man, that's
start.
so beautiful. I love that you say
Yeah.
that about rituals because we were just talking about that in our last episode, and that's something that both Cherry and I are we're on the same page. We love to have a small little ritual whenever it's a long term relationship that we're letting go of, something very serious and important and near and dear to the heart. What were you going to say, Cherry?
Yeah. Oh no, I was just
Okay.
loving what you were saying, and I totally agree and love rituals as well. But Devin, I'm wondering if you could maybe give us an insight into when you say inner child work. Let's say I've never done that before. What it like? How do I do that? Like, how do I connect with and sit with my younger
Mhm.
self?
Yeah, great question. If you've not done inner child work, I think the easiest way to really think about this is is simply find a picture of yourself as a baby. Find a picture of yourself as a baby,
Oh,
and that is your younger self, and
that's
have it next to you, and tune into what that version of you was thinking, doing, feeling, and really what they were experiencing at the time. And you can also do this with a future version of yourself. Of course, you don't have a picture of you in the future, but if you can just like close your eyes and meditate and imagine this future version of yourself, that's another way to kind of experience multiple parts of yourself, because we are here right now. This is present me,
mm-hmm.
and we all have a younger version of ourselves inside of ourselves that we can connect to. But I think finding that picture is the easiest way to do that, and really like sitting with that picture and meditating with that, and just connecting to that version of you, and really understanding what they were going through. That's where I started inner child work.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you've done any work with that.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, and that's really great. Having the picture is so helpful. The inner child work that I was really focusing on over the past few months was around letting go of limiting beliefs and maybe where did some limiting beliefs start, and when is the earliest that I can remember thinking that thought, and what was that situation, and like for one of them was that I have to work so hard and perform to be worthy of good things and love. And I remember being a little girl feeling that. And so going back to her and being like, I love you so much. And like, you were always worthy, and like kind of parenting that little girl, but then and telling her, you were always worthy just as you are. And then even taking it one step further and like higher self, like bringing the higher self into the conversation as well. And she says, you are more than worthy just by being here. Like, you are a cup overflowing. We are so glad that you're here. You don't have to do a damn thing for you to be worthy of every good thing. And that was so healing for me to kind of reparent myself, and then also my higher self to come in and be like, it's even more than you ever thought. That was really, yeah, that was a really healing exercise for me.
Wow.
So, what
Wow,
about
that's
you,
so
Silver?
beautiful.
That's beautiful.
I don't know that I've done any like formal inner child work. I know a few years ago I kind of like got into looking at my older child self pictures and analyzing like my childhood and my upbringing. And I guess without knowing the title of it being inner self work or inner child work at the time, I think I was doing that. And then
Yeah.
And then I focused a lot more on my present self, like growth, learning new hobbies. And that's when I would say that the inner child work happened back whenever I still had my brown hair and was very basic looking. And then
I
I
can't
know.
even
And then
picture
once I felt like I, got to a point of like comfort with myself, I started working on the external factors, the hobbies, the looks, the things that made me feel more comfortable in my skin and accepting of that. And so I guess now in hindsight, I'm glad that I did that work. And I feel like now I probably would associate my self work with like my vision board. One thing that I want to change on it next year would be putting like a Photoshop vision of myself, you know, focusing on the
Ooh,
better
I
version of
like that.
yourself. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
I
that
love
makes me
that.
think of something like getting into playing, like doing the fun things that you love to do as a kid, whether that's like dancing or creating sandcastles or drawing, painting, like getting into play is a great way to connect with your inner child. So, maybe starting off and you're like, I don't even know. Like just maybe start drawing or do something play first and then you can kind of get in that energy and then you can kind of connect because you're spending time kind of with your younger self there. Um and then Devin, something that you said earlier that I think is really important to touch on again, the grief side of things. And it's like, yes, we know that on the other side of this is something better because we've made the decision in our bodies and our hearts, like in our souls, to let go of this thing. That doesn't mean that it's easy, and it doesn't mean that the all it which just comes rushing in with like joy and ease and everything in that space. And so being really gentle with yourself is so important in this process.
Mhm.
um I don't know if you guys
I
have
think we
any.
can I think we can be more gentle with ourselves for everything, but
Yeah.
especially for the hard times that we go through. We're so hard on ourselves and we hold ourselves to these standards that like are created from other people. And so I love that. I think where can you be more gentle with yourself in
Oh,
general?
Mm.
But especially if you
give
are
me
going
goosebumps.
through, are you getting chills?
Oh, I love that.
So
Stop
true.
I
it.
So
love that.
true.
Yeah, 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 I
Mm.
agree. I agree. So letting go is a tough process, being gentle with yourself throughout it and giving yourself the time to feel all the emotions that go with it is important. And don't rush the process because on the other side you're ultimately creating room for something more beautiful for yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
We were talking about our day earlier today, and I had a just like a roller coaster of a day. So um, I'm starting my own coaching business, and in my business, I throw out proposals to people to work with me. Today, I had someone say no, and so I had to really sit with that. Like hearing no as a business owner hurts.
Mm.
So, what am I doing with that? I am attaching a part of myself to this person saying no.
Mm.
In that moment, I am saying, I'm never going to make enough money. I'm a failure as a business owner. This is never going to work for me. And so I have to really like tone it back and almost say the opposite. And in that moment, say, I am worthy of making a lot of money. I am a good business owner. I'm a good coach. People want to work with me. And so I have to rewrite and rewire what's going on in my mind. And so
Mm.
that's step one for me. And then step two is just like, is of course I had to give myself time. It's only been like 3 hours, but I feel like I've moved through this pretty fast where I did that process and then I just sat and then I meditated.
Mm.
And then the last part is like, I don't want to be in that energy anymore. I don't want to be in the energy of lack of not getting the of not getting the yes. I want to be in like a higher frequency. And so what I do for that is I dance. I put on a bop and I dance, and I
Yes.
just like run around the apartment and I dance. And all of those steps really just help me come out of that really low and get back to an even level, and probably even higher than I was before.
Yeah.
So that's
Oof.
a real life example from a few hours ago,
Nice.
fresh
I think that's a
off the
goal.
letting go
Dance is
train.
perfect.
That's total goal. Yes. And actually, that reminds me of a ritual that I learned from one of my life coaches. When we're working through resistance or something really sticky, or maybe needing to let go of something, and dancing. And so you get 4 songs. The first song is where you really feel into your body. Like you said, Devin, where are you feeling that resistance? Where do you feel like something's off that you need to let go of? And just letting your body move. So it's not supposed to, like, you're not here to look cute or to do the right moves. It's just
Mhm.
letting your body move however it needs to the music, and really feeling into that gross, awful feeling. So that's the first song. Then the second song, you're shaking. So when I say shaking, I mean you're jumping up and down and shaking all of your limbs, and that is what's releasing energy. So you've felt into it. So you have all of this gnarly feeling in the first song. Then the second song, you're shaking it all out and getting rid of all that energy. And then the third song, you are dancing in the way that you have the thing that you want, the feeling that you want,
Mm.
the vibe you've let go, like, you're picturing yourself that you've let go of the thing, and it feels really good. It's all the good vibes. And then the fourth song is where you're just really grateful and like meditating on how grateful you are that you're able to move through these hard energies. And like something that you said, I feel like earlier, Devin, about being grateful for that thing at that time. These things that we're letting go of often were there to serve us, or it made us happy, or it was a positive thing at one point. And so just kind of being grateful for that and knowing that it no longer serves you, and so that you let it go. And you might have to do that, for a few days until you can really feel that energy moved out completely. But totally, yeah, in the vein of dancing will change the game for you. Even if you feel silly, if you feel like you don't know how to dance, the point here is to not know how to dance, is to let your body move and let that energy move through you. So that's one for me.
I
But
love this
okay,
dance method.
Yeah,
I'm
right?
gonna try it.
yay,
Yeah, I
yeah, do
I
it.
want to try
Yeah,
all
It's
that's so
three
cool.
steps.
Yeah, it's super simple.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Totally. And we'll put it in the like notes or something. The kind of our step by step rituals. But Devin, I wanted to also ask, because last week we really talked about when friends go rogue. And so that kind of is what led us to this one. When, you get to that point that you realize, okay, it's time to let go of this friendship. Do you have any like, personal stories around letting go of friendships or relationships that you've worked through, and um, that shaped your journey?
I mean, I think when I think of like letting go of friendships, there's no steps that I'm taking. I think it just really happens naturally as you move through life. That's what's happened for me, anyways. And I think a lot of people experience this as well. Is when you start your own healing journey, whatever that looks like for you, people naturally are going to fall away. When you stop drinking, people are going to fall away.
Yeah.
When you start focusing on yourself and what you need, people are going to start falling away. And so there's no real step by step process that's happening. You're just kind of like naturally moving through life. But if you need to have like this conversation with a friend, I think that's maybe what you're talking about here is like, what do I actually do when I need to have this conversation with a friend or with a partner?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard. only you know how to have that conversation. But I think, like, first of all, knowing what you want
Hmm.
is key. And once you know what you want, then you have to know how to ask for it. And that in and of itself is brave and vulnerable. And those are two very hard states to exist in.
Yes,
And so finding that is key to having these conversations.
definitely.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a
Thank you. What about you,
Mm-hmm.
Silver?
um well, whenever I am finally able to acknowledge that I'm ready to let go of a relationship, usually I kind of take the time to myself. It is definitely a hard conversation to have. And typically, I don't really talk to the person that I'm letting go of. Usually, by that point, I've already had a silent distancing occur at some point, and I've naturally fallen away from that person. But once I finally decide to eliminate them from my circles, I typically just stay to myself for the moment. And then, yeah, I like to dance. I like to turn on loud music and spend a lot of time at the house being crazy.
Yeah, 'cause it's a weird feeling. It's not, yeah, it doesn't always feel good. I mean, sometimes when you let go of people, it can feel like a weight lifted from your shoulders and clarity and the clouds are removed. But sometimes it can be really freaking hard. And I actually have had kind of a different experience recently. I had someone that I was really close to, and I thought we were going to go into business together, and something happened. I don't know what. And we were messaging every day and then they just stopped messaging. And that's fine, quantity over quality. I don't need to talk with you every day, but if it's a few weeks, I'm going to, reach out, "Hey, what's up? How are you?" And I didn't get a response. And then, okay, wait a couple more days, reach out on another platform, still no response. So now I'm feeling like there's really something going on here. And so I reached out again and I'm like, "Hey guys, I'm actually really hurt right now because I don't know what happened, but we just stopped communicating. And, if there's something that I did, please let me know because I want to repair this connection." And they just kind of gaslit me back and they were like, "Well, we're not ghosting you." And like, and so long story short, they said, "Let's have a FaceTime about this." And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it. And how about Sunday?" And this was a Friday night. I did not get a response to that message. And I was like, "Wait, I had just reached out telling you that the ghosting was hurting my feelings. I want to rebuild the connection. You said, let's FaceTime. I'm trying to schedule the FaceTime. And now I'm getting ghosted?" I'm so confused. And so waited all day Saturday, nothing back, halfway through Sunday. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't feel really important to you, like you say, because the very thing that I was hurt about, that we were going to have a FaceTime about, you're doing that to me as we're trying to schedule this
Mm-hmm.
FaceTime. And they told me that I was being combative and defensive. And listeners, speaking your truth and being honest about your expectations and what has hurt you is not being combative or defensive. And so after that had been like some repeated gaslighting, and I had to text them back and say, "You know what? I don't have any space in my life for gaslighting, and I wish you the very best." And that was it. That's the last communication that we've had, and I think about them like every day. And that is something that I'm still working on letting go, knowing that it's for my highest good, but it doesn't mean that it feels awesome. And it can be confusing too, like, what happened? Why? Is it me? Is it whatever? But when you know, like, in your heart, this is the right thing for me, the confusion and the grief might still be there, but the knowing that this is the right thing for you will always come out on top.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what
No,
I'm
it's
doing.
that's actually a perfect
Tough
segue.
one.
We have a few questions from our listeners for you, Devin, that we wanted to ask. And this is a perfect segue to the very first question, which is how do you let go of a toxic friendship without guilt? Like this is what do you think is the best way?
I think you'll always feel guilt.
Mm, mm,
I think that that's a natural feeling that you will carry. So I don't think you can let go of a friendship without guilt because there is so much baggage there. But I think looking at the guilt differently and maybe reprogramming that. It's what do you feel guilty of? What did
Right.
you do? What do you feel like you did? Did you feel like you spoke your truth and you were honest? I wouldn't feel
That's so
guilty
true.
about that. And
yeah.
I don't think
That's
anybody
true.
should either.
Because if you're feeling guilty, then it's either
Yeah.
something that you feel you are doing wrong, which you should be working on to correct anyways, or it's something that was natural and true,
Mhm.
and you shouldn't feel guilty for that to begin with. It's a great answer. So,
Right. And then I think the journaling part is can help you gain
mm-hmm.
clarity on that. Because yeah, I did have to do some journal because I was like, this is weird. Like, am I the wrong one here? But
Mhm.
no, no. And I like because I wrote everything out, and I'm like, okay, I can't. I'm not making any stories up right now. This is what is happening. So yeah, it's true. It
Yeah.
does. Yeah, guilt. That's true.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. We'll always think of well, our brain will make up stories of things that we think we did or could have said or should have said, or maybe I could have, treated this relationship differently, but that is your brain making up stories. And I think if you're able to just compartmentalize those stories with what's actually happening and what's true, then that helps.
That
That's
is so
always a good
true.
start.
That's,
Mm.
again, perfect segue to question number 2. So, what is your advice? What is your advice
Let's
for
have it.
releasing limiting beliefs about yourself?
Oh gosh. We have so much advice. How much time do we have?
Mm-hmm.
Forever.
These So my advice is find a practice that works for you and keep practicing and keep reiterating on it, because no matter where you're at in life, you're going to find limiting beliefs. Doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter what's going on. You're going to find them. People are going to all
Mm-hmm.
help you find them as well. You're going to get triggered by people and they're going to bring them
Yes.
out. And so there's a ton of work you can do, but it's all about finding what works for you. A lot of what we said today may work for you, or it may not. You may totally resonate with what we're saying, or you may just be like, "I'm never going to talk to my inner child. I don't know what that is. That's not for me." but like, but like personally, based on my experience, I found some things that work. I do that when I find a limiting belief, and I work through this. And just knowing that this is a process and it takes time and being patient, again, with the showing compassion to yourself, I think is just, loving yourself through this whole process, no matter what, because it's hard.
How do you handle the fear of missing out when
Ooh,
letting go of
FOMO.
something? Mm-hmm.
FOMO's real.
Oh,
Someone re-coined this phrase for me, and they called it the joy of missing out. So it
I
was
love.
like, what am I gaining from letting go of this? Like, what can I bring in? Like, can I find a new friend? Can I find a new hobby? Can I go outside and go for a walk? Like, where can I find joy in this process? And
Mm-hmm.
that is how I handle the fear of missing out. Because if I look at it a different way, I'm not missing out on anything. I'm creating joy over here somewhere else that I didn't know existed, but now it's there.
Ooh, I love that. Really being the creator of your own life.
Right?
Like,
That's a great.
Mhm.
yeah, you're not missing out on anything. You're
It's
exactly
Beautiful.
where
like
you
glass
are.
half full instead of half empty. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
um, yeah, totally. And then I think also something that's really helped me when I feel fear about things is why. Why are you afraid of that? Why are you afraid of letting go of that? Where is that fear coming from? And why? Why I'm afraid that I'm gonna, like, that I'm letting go of this friend what am I afraid of here? That I won't have the same opportunities, that I won't have as much fun? Like, no, and that kind of can help you, I think, work through those fears. And anytime that you feel fearful about something, why do you? Like, get to the root issue there. Um, I think these have been really, really powerful answers. Thank you so much. The
Thank
next
you.
question, I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people. How do you let go of regret over past decisions?
Ooh, the past is in the past for a reason, is it not?
True.
Yeah.
True. But you
And
don't ever like
so,
look back and think like, damn, I wish I didn't do that. Like, and it, you know?
sure, sure. Yeah, I think we all do, right? And do I want to spend my time thinking about every mistake I made in the past
Mm,
and being in that energy of regret and of bad decisions and of things that put me in weird, harmful places? Or do I want to let it be there and, give it thanks for being a part of my life and getting to where I am now? Or do I want to be over here and being like, all right, what do I do now for my greater good, for my higher self? Like, where do I want to be? Where do I want to go? What do I want to accomplish? And that, I think, brings me out of the past and out of those bad decisions. We've all made bad decisions, but are we harping on them, and are we living in that space, or are we able to move on from that?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, totally. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Silver, do you have anything that you
Oh
would add
man,
to
I was
it?
just thinking whenever I am wishing that I had made a different decision, I think back to like that universal moment of like if the universe made it difficult or easy, and if I had made that other decision, I typically like have this image in my brain of like the timekeepers from like that Marvel show, where if you make a change, it's a domino effect and it
Mm,
ripples all the way down the timeline. So if I had made
yeah.
that decision a few weeks ago to go to that party, then I probably wouldn't have woken up for the audition on Sunday. And then I would have missed that entire opportunity and all of those people that I met at that event, just like how everything has a domino effect. And that tends to keep me in check.
Yeah.
It's like
The
the
what?
Totally.
butterfly effect.
Hmm.
Yes,
The
exactly.
butterfly effect. The small change
Mm-hmm.
affects so much more.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I
Yeah.
think too, like, we all wish, you know, what I'm gonna say is we're all exactly where we need to be.
Hmm.
And I trust that wholeheartedly. And I have to believe that every single day, no matter
Mm-hmm.
what is going on. And so if you can also believe that, it really lets go a lot of the pressure of being like, oh, if I only made that one decision that one time, like my life would have been so different.
So
A
true.
We can
100%.
be, we can have so much more clarity if we just accept and love where we are right now, because everything that we've decided in the past got us here.
That's so true.
Letting go of regret over past decisions. Yeah, I mean, you can't stay there. You like the more you're thinking about it, the more time you're wasting like on being present and what you want for your future. And yeah, instead of thinking about all of the bad things, why, exactly like you said, why not be thinking about all of the good things and looking ahead, or just being present where you are now and knowing like I made the best choice that I could have at that time. Like now I see that that was not the just like I wouldn't make that same decision today, but I believe that I'm always operating from my best. I'm trying to, at least. And so yeah, we can't dwell on or beat ourselves up on or beat up on ourselves for, the mistakes that we've made or choices that we've made in the past, or even relationships that we've had, like if you needed to go be, a party girl for all of college and most of your 20s like I did and have a whole bunch of partners and like not care about like what it was doing to me mentally and emotionally and physically and everything, I wouldn't make that same choice now. But it served something at that time. And yeah, so I'm not going to take the time to beat up on myself about it. Definitely letting that
Hmm.
go. And so,
Agree, agree.
thank you. I'm glad. It'd be so annoying if you're like, actually, you're wrong.
But also, I'm just thinking back to like all the times that we made decisions that were not for the greater good. But like you said, we were doing the best we could with what we knew at the time, and we were probably having fun. So let's let it be like a fun time in our life. And now we are more enlightened. We know how to make better decisions. We trust ourselves more. Like we have so much more to be thankful for now than we did back then.
Totally. And, you know, remember that it's not letting go isn't about weakness. Really, letting go is about strength and self development and choosing yourself, your growth, your happiness, your joy. And so I'm really glad that we got to share all of these amazing insights and stories for all of our listeners today.
Yes, yes,
And
me
thank you
too.
for sharing your story with like letting go of the friend, because
Mm,
it shows that there are so many different ways that this happens. And so there's not one way that you're going to let go of a friend. There's not one way that you're going to heal from letting go of a friend. There's so many different ways. And so I think, being kind with yourself along that journey and just knowing that your way will find itself if you work on it.
totally.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
yeah,
Thank
that's so
you.
true. Yeah, it's just a matter of acknowledgement and working on it. And I think you're doing great, Cherry. I loved your story too. I'm so happy to be along for the ride, for the journey of growth and closure on that whole adventure. I'm so excited for you. But
Thank
think
you.
just think of it like this. You can't hold on to new blessings if your hands are full of baggage. So you got to release
Ooh,
and trust the
Mm,
process.
that's
I love
gold.
that.
Love that, Silver. Oh man, and thank you guys for the kind words. And listeners, if you guys are going through something that you feel like you need to let go of, we would love if you want to share that with us. If you need some like advice or um, an ear, and we're going to share some of our rituals. We'll put them in the post and definitely put them in the Goddess Collective on Facebook. But as we wrap up, Devin, what's the one thing that you want listeners to remember about letting go?
Mm, trust the process
Mm,
and just surrender to the process, which is a really deep connection to yourself and to the universe. And know that on the other side of this really frustrating, terrible, sad moment is something so much better. And so keep your eye on the future and know that the future always has something better in store for you.
yes. Oof, gold.
Right? Oh my gosh, that was so beautifully said. Oh, I just love it. And
Thank you.
goddesses, remember, when you let go, you're not losing. You're gaining clarity and the freedom to create the life that you deserve.
Yes. Ooh, louder. I love that. It's so good. Um, Again, Devin, thank you so much for coming on today, sharing your wisdom and your light with us. It's been such an inspiring conversation. I'm continually inspired by you. Just you as a human. I love what you put on the socials. So be sure to plug that at the end, and we'll put links and all of the notes and everything, guys, so that you can follow Devin and all of his amazing coaching work. So thank you again.
Yeah, Devin, would
Thank
you like
you. This
to
has been
tell our
so
listeners?
fun. I can be reached at,
Yes.
I'm on Instagram. My handle is at Devin J. Turner. It's Devon.
Devon. Devon.
Not I.
Or A.
Good
Devin with an
clarification.
O. Yes.
It's different. It's special.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was a great conversation. Thank you for, letting me have the honor of being your first guest on your
Well,
podcast.
thank you for bearing with us on this journey. It's been up and down.
Always.
Connection issues, Mercury is trying to get involved,
Hmm.
as it does. But it's been really, really friggin' fun. So.
It has. Thank you for
Agreed.
being here, and thank you for dealing with all of our issues.
Hey, it's life.
We're
It's
goddesses
life.
in
It
progress,
happens.
okay?
Yes.
That's the whole, we're glowing and growing together, baby.
That's great. Well, you looked fabulous doing it, and you bring such a good positive energy to the world. So, regardless of connection issues, we need this. So, thank you for putting this out there to the world.
Thanks, babe. Listeners, in addition to, sharing your stories with us, we want to know what you're letting go of this week so we can really support you. We want to know how it's opening new doors for you. Maybe if you have a ritual for letting go, let us know what that is, and we'll be happy to share that with the other goddesses and baddies on this journey. So you can connect with us on social media. Send us an email, goinggoddesspodcast@gmail.com. We're Going Goddess on TikTok, Going Goddess Podcast on Instagram, and then we have the Going Goddess Collective on Facebook. So until next time, stay radiant,
Stay empowered,
and keep
going goddess.
Goddess.